Well, we now take you to the northern region where rice farmers are desperate for buyers. Thousands of bags of harvested rice during the last farming season are sitting in the warehouses as farmers reveal that rice off-takers in the region have stopped buying from them because imported rice has become way cheaper due to the benchmark value discount. Martina Bugri is our northern region correspondent. She joins us on phone on development happening there. Hello, Martina. What can you report regarding this development story?
Now, what we are being told by these groups are that with the refusal of government to back down on reversing the policies, it's made imported rice very cheap. And after taxing and everything, imported rice is about 25% cheaper than rice milled in Ghana. And so the markets have been flooded with imported rice, and people are for that one because it's cheaper compared to the price of local rice, which are processed in the country. And so they believe that if nothing is done to stop this trend, the already fragile rice industry is likely to collapse, and government's target to make Ghana self-sufficient in rice production by 2024 is likely not to be met. They also talk of job loss, not just farmers, but those in the value chain of rice production would also be out of job. And that means that a lot of families will be affected when it comes to livelihood. And so they are appealing to government to consider a reverse of these policies so that and give them an equal field to others who are in other countries, who are producing rice, so that they can also have a playing field to sell. And right now, where they can sell their rice is the school feeding program, and that is not a lucrative place because of the delays in payment. And so they believe that if nothing is done, the rice industry is heading for a collapse.
Indeed, and we could imagine the impact that this could have on the value chain of rice production in the country. Martina, we're grateful that you could help us with this update. She's a Northern Regional Correspondent there. Well, let's bring in Anthony Morrison, who is Chief Executive of the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana, as well as Michael Darcom with the Rice Millers Association. I want to start off with you, Anthony Morrison. Of course, are we to expect a glut this time around from what we're hearing? Kindly unmute so we could hear you better, Anthony.
Okay. Good afternoon to your viewers. Yes, the way we have been studying the market trend, we should expect some continuous glut in the industry. But I'm afraid this glut will not be a glut that will end well, because next season we will see prices of rice rising up very steeply, astronomically, because most farmers will not do rice again. They will do soya, they will do maize, they will do sorghum, they will do millet. So that implies that our predicament will keep worsening. We have been advising government. We told government that we can follow the model of Argentina, Brazil, Thailand, where government position itself as the main seller of paddy rice in the country. So government buys all paddy in the system and sells the paddy to the rice millers and also the market suppliers or the market forces. This is the only way we can go and strengthen our core production areas and be able to completely abandon the continuous importation that we are having currently as a country. It's a four-tier strategy, which is very simple, and this will also bring in a lot of revenue for government. But I'm afraid government has not been thinking rightly, and the government before and after and previously have not done or any initiative of this nature.
Great.
With some of these strategies being adopted, but the first government under Prime Nkrumah we saw at Campo, but we haven't seen much being done. And I think that we are also missing a lot of things here in actually positioning ourselves as a major rice production country, especially in the West Africa sub-region, where we can take a lot of advantage.
Okay, but in the short term, what contingency measures must be taken to deal with this situation up north?
Government must vote money and buy out all party rights in the system, and also find a way to store it properly so that we do not have any food waste in the system. Then also government will be able to release this to the seed millets, the rice millets, so that they can mill and supply the market. This is the only strategy we can do. Otherwise, I mean, from what I'm hearing from our correspondent or our contacts in the northern region, some are even threatening to bend down some of the party rights. So this is a situation that we should be very careful of. Government should buy all party rights in the system. That is the way for food security. Because if we do not have party rights in the system, the poultry industry is going to suffer, the beverage industry will suffer, and this will affect various other value chains within the agribusiness or the agro industry.
Indeed. Well, we shall try and raise, on Zoom as well, Mr. Darko here is with the Rice Millers Association. But in the meantime, Anthony, local rice production up north has a challenge of a ready market. How can the Ministry of Agriculture address this head on? You've talked about government having to buy all the party rice, but is this commercially viable?
This is what Thailand has done. And Thailand racks in more than hundreds of billions of dollars annually, supplying the whole world with rice. And if Thailand has been able to do this, I think that Ghana, using Vosta region as a pivot, we can do more than that. We need to increase our farmers, their skills capacity. Now also bring in machinery, because if you are doing seeding or you are doing planting, you will need to reduce the planting distance and populate more seedlings, and make sure that what you are doing, we are able to turn around and be able to produce more than 7 metric tons per hectare or more competitive, because our agronomical problems are quite high. The agriculture census was clear that over 70% of our farmers still use this rudimentary technology. And the World Bank report was very clear as well, that African farmers will make $1 trillion if we use high-tech skills and also adopt irrigation and technology. So, I mean, we know the answers to this. It's all about being innovative and think outside the box. We need to, government have a business, doing business by protecting the food security of this country. And if by setting themselves up, like the way they've done for the buffer stock, we need another company that can come in, whether the Ghana Grains Council or the Ghana Rice Company, that will buy all rice in the system, all paddy rice.
Okay.
And actually, you see, this is a strategy. Let me tell you, what government needs to do is to identify the rice growing regions in the country, register all rice farmers, and look at the number of lands that are currently under production. Then they will ask all importers and rice millers to now request the quantity of rice paddy they need annually. The government will vote money to these farmers, and the farmers will supply government with this paddy, and government will store the paddy to these rice millers and also the importers. This is the only strategy, and I'm telling you the fact. When we adopt this, we are going to see the finest of local rice that can be produced from most of these factories. And I'm telling you, Ghana has the capacity to feed itself from rice. And this domineering of always importing and importing is just a lazy political approach. We are not thinking as a country. And it's sad we are in this situation now. We have a lot of rice and it's going waste, and nobody seems to care about what the farmer will eat tomorrow, because this is their daily bread. They don't have anything coming anywhere. Okay? It's a very sad situation. I had several calls yesterday night and this morning, some looking for money to go to hospital and several other things. It's so disheartening.
Anthony,
don't want
we
to put our poor farmers
appreciate,
in.
great. We appreciate your assertion, especially when you're calling for literally a Nigerian model to Ghana's rice crisis. We're grateful, Anthony Morrison of the Chamber of Agribusiness. Let's now bring in Michael Darko. He is the president of the Rice Millers Association. You have cited the benchmark value as the critical situation hampering local production of rice as we speak. Justify for us to the extent to which this remains a threat to rice production in Ghana currently, because we do know that there is currently, a stakeholder engagement, broader consultation between stakeholders and government on this matter.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your listeners. I think the issue of the benchmark value discount reversal and implementation by government, we've made our case very, very clearly. As long as imported rice lands in Ghana and is cheaper than the locally produced rice in Ghana, we all know that price is a big determinant in the consumer decisions of Ghanaians. The Bank of Ghana has come out with recent research that says that 40% of the average Ghanaian's income is spent on food. Food security is a national security issue. As my colleague who spoke before me said, we have rice millers who are prepared to go out and buy most of the available paddy rice. But there's no sense in making this decision, and I'm an investment banker by trade. There's no sense in me going out to buy all the paddy rice when after producing it, I am not going to be able to sell at a competitive price because the government is not making the bold decision to implement this benchmark value reversal, which would then allow Ghana-based rice millers to be able to spend their money in buying paddy to produce Ghanaian rice for the Ghanaian consumer and for us to be able to industrialize this nation.
Well, so, let's talk about, short-term, if not medium-term measures. I believe that you may have contacted some of the rice farmers up north. What particular contingency measures, in your point of view, must be taken to avert, a crisis of a glut?
We had a stakeholders meeting yesterday at the Ministry of Agri. I think the first thing that we are asking government to do is to implement the benchmark value discount between now and the end of the month, January 2022. The second thing is that once we're able to do that, most of the rice millers are prepared to go and pick up some of this available rice so that the rice farmers in Ghana can have some relief and have some money in their pockets.
Mike Darko, we're grateful that you could join us. We shall keep an eye on this developing story, especially when it has everything to do with Ghana's food security.